Howdy there. Today I'm going to do a short review, or at least shorter than last time, a review of the Falco Myth, and I have a new one this time. The first review I rambled on quite a bit, and that was over a year ago, and I was very new to archery. I'm kind of new to it again now, because I've been on a long hiatus. Here it is. We have Zebrano this time, and I really do favor the blonde in a bow. The other one was, I've forgotten exactly what wood it was. It was a lot darker, beautiful bow. But this here, it's more my style. Now, here you can see the carbon coating. And this one is a wee bit different. This is 56 pounds, apparently. So it's a bit lighter than the other, but I don't think I'll really see much of a difference. Might be a bit smoother. And we have a string here, nice looking string. Presumably it's fast flight, that's what Falco sends their bows out with. And as you can see with the knock, they're pretty stout knocks, and they will do fine with fast flight. It's a really nice looking bow. Now, one of the reasons I did this is I asked Sim to put me together something that would be rugged, more rugged than average. And originally I had said, I don't care if it's hot pink. Just advise me on something that's going to be rugged. So this was his pick, actually, and if I had to do it over again and make the decision entirely on my own, I think I'd do exactly this. So I'll go ahead and string it, and I only have 2 arrows right now, because a couple months ago I sold my heavy arrows, thinking I might not be using them for a while. So I have 2. Now it seems with a lot of strings, you'll have one string that's a bit smaller, usually that will go on the bottom, and one string that's or one end of the loop, I should say, that's a bit larger, and that I think goes on the top. These seem to be the same. Of course, the serving is probably, yep, so this is the top. Now it has been more than a few months since I've done any substantial shooting, but it's been a couple of months since I've shot at all. Now let's see what happened with that. Yeah, we're just right about where I want to be, maybe just a wee bit high, but we're still under 8, and the string may stretch slightly. Yeah, that's a stout pull. Alright, and as anyone who's watched the channel before knows, I make my own thumb rings. I have never used anyone else's thumb ring, not yet. This is one of my favorites, made of aluminum. It is not my favorite, and I don't know how it got in here, but somehow my second or third favorite got in my pouch. But I think I can make do. But that's a handmade, hand-machined T6061 aluminum thumb ring. And the design has been criticized by some. The bamboo archery guy says he thinks these are terrible designs. I do very well with them, so I'm sure he has valid points. He says the release is really rough, and he gives an explanation for that, but I find that with earnest effort I can make them work quite well. Okay, so we'll get a full view. And I'll zip one out to the target. I may not even hit the target at all. It's been a while. And on the last one I had sewn on a leather arrow pass, so this will probably be the first time I've ever shot this without the arrow pass. Not that bad. Not that bad at all for not shooting for a while. Well, that passed through and it hit the backstop, but that was just to the bottom of the can. I'll zoom in rather than walk you over there, and I'll do a couple more rounds, so I guess you might be able to just make that out. Alright, be right back. So I consider those to be reasonable warm-up shots for me. And one of the reasons I've not been shooting is I have a significant rotator cuff injury from my teenage years. And it has really begun to bother me. And my intent was to retrain as a left-handed archer, but I haven't really been doing a very good job at that. I'll take a couple more shots, warm up, and then I know where the 30-yard marker is here, and maybe I'll try some 30-yard shots. Not bad. Not bad at all. I have not hit the can yet. And a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right with those. But I think I might be ready to take a few steps back. Now, just in case I forget, even though that's the point of this review, in case I forget to tell you how fine of a bow this is, this really is it's a magnificent bow. And as I said the last time, with a lot less experience, if you're thinking about getting this, definitely do. And I'd say get any of the Falcos, but I don't know. All I know is the Myth, and I know that this is a really fine bow. My primary interests are in the Asiatic bows, but some important things to mention. I tend to forget all the important simple stuff. This is the double con cut. So you can see here, it's a symmetrical grip, and there's no shelf. As anyone who's watched any of my stuff before would know, I am quite anti-shelf. I remove them if I have one at all, by force. So Falco, by default, will have the Western style grip with a shelf. By special request, you can have a single con cut or a double con cut. The beauty in this is that you get the ambidexterity. So you can use this right-handed or left-handed. So if you do want to train both hands, it's great. And if you don't want a shelf, then it's even more great. So that is the double con cut, an option with all of their bows, but by default, unless you specify otherwise, it will come with a standard Western style grip. oriented to your handedness, left hand, right hand. I'll go pull those arrows and I'll move back. There is some debris. As you guys might have known, we had a couple of hurricanes come through. Milton being the windiest one of the summer. And things are a bit different than they were before. A little bit more debris, but I'll make do. So I have the tripod and some debris. And I don't remember if this is 30 yards or not, but I'd say right about where I'll be standing is 30 yards. And again, those familiar with some of my videos, I tend to do better with distance. Often I'll shoot more accurate the farther I go back to a certain extent. I had good center on that, but the elevation was no good. Yeah. Well, I had good center on both of those, but the elevation was too high, so I over-adjusted. Try again here. And with Falcos, I think the general consensus is something that most people familiar with these bows agree with, is that the value, the quality for the price. I don't know every bow that's out there, but I think it's difficult to find something of equal quality at that price range. The shipping stings a bit because it's coming from Estonia. And from Estonia to the US, that shipping it's about $100 less, more, depending on certain things. Excellent center, but I really sunk that arrow low. Of course, I'm standing in weeds and debris. Right. Well, that one went high and hit the backstop. It may seem a silly excuse, but it's legitimate. While this is one of my favorite rings and I handmade it myself for myself, I haven't shot with this ring for probably 7 or 8 months, maybe longer. And I made one that really became my favorite. It was another aluminum ones. The bronze, I had a couple of bronze ones that worked really well, but I really settled on my favorite aluminum one. And that was all I used for a while. And that does make a difference. Really low. And really far to the side. There we go. 20-yard can shot. Can I do it again? Probably not. There's two can shots at 20 yards in a row, and as you'll see, I had to sneak this in because I didn't want to leave the video with nothing. I didn't do so well at 30 yards. Oh crap, I didn't do so well with that. I guess that grazed it. You can see it's kind of at a slight angle. But there's one shot, 20 yards can. Used to do that all the time, consistently. want to say one final thing, and this is my honest experience, and you've not seen many examples of that today. But this is the most accurate bow that I've shot, and I don't have a hell of a lot of experience. I have a couple of cheap Chinese bows that were great while they lasted, but they did not last. The Korean, what's the Daylight Monarch fun bow. That's still around, but it's lost a lot of its poundage. Then there was still is the Samick. Was it the Discovery? I've forgotten the name. Anyway, anyone who's watched the videos will remember that. I didn't really expect perfection out of that because I ground off the shelf and I was using the bow well beyond its intended purposes. A couple of other bows I've picked up, but out of all of them, this has been the most accurate that I've handled so far. But I do not have a tremendous amount of experience with other bows. That's a pretty short list right there. And it's not always the bow I want to shoot. Sometimes I want a short Asian bow. But this is, for me, the most accurate bow I've shot. So if that means something to you, I think anyone who has the patience and wants this style of bow, you'll find that you can do exceedingly well with it. And if you do the Western style with the shelf, probably more so. If you add a knocking point and really tune your arrows and do everything the right way, you'll probably do exceedingly well.